Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we have to talk about the US government because Iran hacked the US government. Holy cow, this is nuts. This is coming from multiple sources inside the cybersecurity community, but I'm cribbing from Cybersecurity News, who I thought had a pretty good write-up of all of those. So here's what's going on. CISA, or the U.S. Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, uncovered a cyber attack on basically U.S. federal networks, where the attackers compromised basically the organization's domain controller and possibly deployed things like crypto miners and credential harvesters and all of that. So, if you are not familiar with a domain controller, it does many things, but the most simplistic basically explanation I can give you is it's a database of users, usernames and passwords that allow you to log into a network and interact with other network assets. It also allows you to set policies, meaning my user can or cannot access specific things. All of that is set by the domain controller. That is a very rudimentary explanation of that for those who don't know. So I don't want to hear any hate from any of my IT and cybersecurity friends and colleagues about this, because we all know domain controllers do a lot of things, but at its core, that's what it does. It's a very integral part of network and network security. Now, Iranian APT, or Advanced Persistent Threat hackers, launched an attack on the Federal Civilian Executive Branch, or the FCEB. This is an organization within the federal government, and they exploited the Log4Shell vulnerability in an unpatched VMware Horizon server. Now, if you recall, and if you're in IT and cybersecurity, you recall this, Log4Shell was a zero-day vulnerability in Log4j. That is a popular JavaScript framework, and that basically vulnerability involved arbitrary code execution. It affected a ton of products. It was like a 10 out of 10 on in the CVE. It was a huge problem, and I can't tell you how many, pretty much every IT and cybersecurity person basically spent countless hours figuring out what products had Log4j, updating, patching. It was an utter nightmare, and they got hit again and again. It was like 3 weeks or 4 weeks of just pure hell trying to update this thing to keep everybody safe, but apparently the federal government really didn't do this. Now, CISA believes that this attack was initiated by Iranian government-backed hackers who installed the XMRig crypto mining software. They moved laterally to, like I mentioned, that domain controller. They got compromised credentials, and then they implanted ngrok, which is a reverse proxy to maintain persistence, basically trying to obfuscate their traffic for, again, not getting technical here, but essentially they got in, they got credentials, they basically set up shop everywhere to make sure that they had multiple ways in, and here we are. Now, back in April of this year, CISA conducted a routine investigation and suspected basically malicious APT activities on the FCEB network with the help of Einstein. This is a government basically intrusion detection system. Here we are. Einstein is a pretty cool thing if you know about it, but it's an IDS or intrusion detection system, and basically because of that, it looks like they might have found this back in April. Now, during this investigation, their researchers found bidirectional traffic between the network and known malicious IP addresses associated with the exploitation of Log4Shell in VMware Horizon servers. Now, the Iranian IPT threat actors initially found this unpatched VMware Horizon server that was deployed by the FCEB, and they established a connection from it from a malicious IP address, meaning also the defense in front of it did not have any blocking or filtering for known bad addresses at the time. Also another problem as well. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. And so if you are looking at this is a huge black eye. It's not quite the level of SolarWinds where Russian hackers got into friggin' everything, but this is just so unbelievably asinine, in the sense that pretty much everybody in the IT world and cybersecurity world was scrambling to patch, fix, block, do whatever we had to do for Log4j. And I understand governments move slowly, governments react slowly, but governments also have IT teams. And when you have something that is a 10 out of 10, oh my God, if this is a vulnerability publicly, I can basically hack into you and teach a third grade class how to do it. These are things that need to be patched yesterday. This is a huge problem. And so we have to talk about mitigation, because CISA, once again, had to advise on the following steps. And I've pounded this into audiences worldwide, basically in the last couple of years, not just because of, impending possible Russian cyber attacks due to Ukraine, but also Log4j and all of that. So here are the core things. that you need to do, especially if you've got VMware Horizon. Install updated VMware Horizon to ensure that VMware Horizon and UAG systems are basically up to date. Update all of your software on top of that. If you've got Windows, update Windows. You got Adobe, update Adobe. Make sure everything is up to date so nothing can be exploited in that way. Minimize internet-facing attack surface, meaning shut down those open ports. Put filtering in there. Put geo-blocking. Does anybody in Iran need to look at the FCEB Verizon, or I'm sorry, VMware, I keep saying Verizon, VMware Horizon infrastructure? No. Geo-block that. Filter that down. Best practices basically dictates that you should be using identity and access management as well. Do you have artificial intelligence understanding behavioral control as your users are logging in and interacting with systems? Go get yourself a good IAM. Not to mention, you got to continuously audit domain controllers using things like SIEM, Security Information Events Management. Ingest all those logs from all your critical infrastructure, your servers, your firewalls, whatever. Let the logs be correlated through artificial intelligence, sift through the noise, find those malicious IPs, all of these kinds of things. You know, you can create deny lists as well of known compromised credentials. You can isolate things using zero trust approach or ZTNA, zero trust network access. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Secure credentials by also restricting accounts and where they can be used and when they can be used. If anybody is on the government dime, they're probably not working from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless that's their shift. Why do their logins work? These are things that are just low-hanging fruit that every organization should be doing, but we're not. And we continuously talk about this. And the number one call that we get here at Security Fanatics is, oh my God, help. You know, I've never worked with you, but I've seen your videos or your radio show, or I've seen you on stage or whatever. The world is burning down. Please help. Fortunately, the number two call is, yeah, I don't want to be that guy, so what do I have to do? And nobody wants to be that organization, so make sure you're keeping everything up to date. Make sure you've got good access control, good contingency planning, and on and on and on. Cybersecurity is comprehensive. It doesn't start and stop with the firewall and the antivirus or EDR that you have. It's so much more. And if you have anything with Log4j or you didn't take it seriously, this is proof that you should. Because if Iran can hack the US government, pretty much anybody can hack you. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, stay patching and updating, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.